don't overpromise, don't underpromise. Like, be really clear about what it is that you can do and what you can bring, and then just do that.
Welcome back to another episode of Season 5 of Relentless Life on Your Terms. I have a fellow colleague of mine, ex-colleague, who worked together for many years, fellow Vinnie's ambassador. Very excited to have her. Welcome to the show, Marion.
Hi, Chris. Thank you for having me.
So I know quite a lot about you because we've known each other for, this is going to go back, but how long?
Almost 12 years or 13 years.
And we've worked side by side. We've worked side by side, both at Vinnie's as ambassadors, also at work. You're in the property and finance game. You're running a very successful business, your second business now. You've been along the property journey. Tell me a bit about how you started as an entrepreneur, a bit about your journey, and of course, where you are now.
Okay. So my first business venture was actually in relation to marketing, and I had a marketing consulting business for the financial services industry. And I did that for a couple of years and then exited that, and I moved to the UK, London. And I lived in London for about 3 years. And when I came back, I thought it was time for a change of direction. And I'd always been in the financial sector before going to London. So when I left school when I was 18, my first company that I worked for was a financial company. My second company I worked for was Citibank Citicorp. So when I came back from the UK, I went for a job interview at a company in South Melbourne, and that was then to do, the property consults they do before the property consult. I
So
forget
like
what
an in-home appointment?
Yeah, in-home. Yeah.
So basically pre-property consultant, so it's an in-home appointment where you go in there, you do like a fact-finder discovery meeting, and we identify,
So that's what I went to the interview for. I just landed back from London into Melbourne, and the guy interviewing me was an ex-footballer. I'll never forget this. And he said, "No, you can't be an in-home." Right there in the interview, and I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "Nah, you need to come with me, and I'm going to take you to the head of property, and I think you need to work in the property division." And that's how I started.
Why? Did he tell you why?
The way I presented, the way I spoke,
You thought you'd be more suitable to the property side?
my passion for property, presenting property and teaching people about property investment. My passion for property. I'd long started investing in property before then, like in my early 20s. So that's where I started back in early 2000 in the property sector.
That makes sense. Look, I've known you for quite some time, as you said. I understand your passion for property and helping people, so I can understand why you said that. But you're also an in-home consultant for years, which you're very good at as well. But
Had a lot of fun.
property is for me and you. I love that side of the business. It's so much fun. Learning about
Agreed.
real estate. So yeah, keep going past. So then you'll work, and I know you work for other companies as well, consulting and offering your time and services.
Correct. So, but I spent a fair bit of time from early 2000. In fact, I think I was with that company for 5-6 years. And essentially that was educating and teaching people about how to invest in residential property.
Yep.
And so I did that for 5 years. And and then I think I joined you guys, I don't know, maybe in like 2012, I'm feeling, or 2013.
I'm not sure because we've had a couple stints where we've worked well together, and we still, even though we don't technically work together, we've always collaborated and helped each other, which was good. But then you were doing a dual role, remember, ironically, which was being an in-home and a property consultant. So we merged both those two roles.
Yes. Yeah.
And your passion was always there. And then you went obviously on your around about 8 years. You're telling me you're running your current business.
Yeah. So it was born out of I was working with you guys, and I was working on the business concept and idea and model. And really that was born of accumulation of all the work that I'd done in financial
All the
services.
experience.
Working in the financial services sector, I've had some really interesting roles. So like I used to repossess houses for Citibank in the early 90s when interest rates were 18%. I've worked in credit control, collecting debt, repossessing stuff.
That would have been challenging.
It was very interesting, yeah. I don't think I wasn't a really good debt collector, actually, to be honest. When I moved back from
Why did you feel uncomfortable doing it? What was the reason?
No, I tell you a funny story. When I moved back from Tokyo to Australia, a friend of mine who I met in Tokyo said, "Can you do me a favor and just go and cover my job for 2 weeks? This is my desk, this is my login dates, whatever. I've mentioned to my boss you're going to be covering, but don't worry too much. No one will really notice you." Yeah. And I'm like, "What do I do?" And she said, "There's just a call list, and you just call the people and you try and collect the money."
Oh,
Except when I started calling the people and listening to them, I started coaching them on how they could improve their life and how they could be better and not to worry that they had debt and not to let them get it down. And I would make all these comprehensive notes to that effect. Never got any money in, but was, coaching people on.
you found a passion there.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
So that's really interesting. So my previous guest who fell into his like entrepreneurship on his business by accident. You've established a passion through accident through helping a friend. You thought that you were very good at it because you wanted to help people, and then your business was born.
I was good at coaching people in terms of their situation, not so good at debt collecting. At the end of those 2 weeks, her
You
boss
learned 2 new things.
her boss was like, "Who is this chick?" Like literally, not $1. There's no money that's come in, but yeah, everyone's calling back and asking to speak to her, but there's just no money that's come in.
It's actually really funny. But you learn a lot though. So from that point you thought, you know what? I know you do a lot. You've won quite a few awards for female advocacy, which I'm very proud to very proud of you for that fact. Tell us a bit about those awards as well.
Thank
And
you.
you've been recently nominated as well
Yes.
as a finalist.
Yes, as a finalist.
Of
There's
course.
6
Tell us a bit about the awards you've won, why they've picked you, and obviously there's a couple other areas that I'd like to talk about as well.
Yeah, I think one of the most important awards to me personally that has really meant the most to me that I won was in 2019. And I just want to backtrack a little bit. So 8 years ago when I started my company, after working with you guys, it was really around financial literacy and financial capability for women. Now, back then, that really wasn't a thing. Yeah.
It wasn't. Now it's become more prevalent, but it definitely
Now
wasn't.
everyone's a money coach. Everyone's, But back then, I remember people saying to me, "So can you just take us through this? You're going to teach women about money, and then you're going to charge them money to teach them about money, and you think this is a business model." So it really wasn't a thing back then. And really for the first 5 or 6 years of the business, even though I was doing the property stuff, the financial literacy work wasn't really recognised from my industry peers. And when I'm talking about my industry peers, I'm talking about the main financial banking sector. So, that was tough ground to tread when you're trying to do work that's not really acknowledged by your peers or so much validated. And 2019, the award that I was first a finalist in, alongside Fabian Ross, who was then the CEO of WA Super, and the fabulous Julia Newbound, who was then the chief editor of Money magazine. So the 3 of us were finalists in that, and that award was for the Financial Executive Women's Association, and it was an award for the positive progression of women across Australia. I had no idea, honestly, that I would win it with such heavy hitters by my side with titles like that.
Of course.
I had to take my 10-year-old son with me. I flew up to Sydney. It was held at Macquarie Bank in front of hundreds of my peers in the banking sector. And I was sitting in the front row with my son and thinking they're going to call Fabian or they're going to call Julian, given who they were. And then they called my name, and before I could even respond, Somerset was like, "That's my mum. Go, mum. That's my mum." So that was a really important award to me, not for the fact that I, got a title or anything, but twofold. One, I felt like for the first time ever in 8 years, my industry peers validated and acknowledged the importance,
work you're putting
the
in as
importance
well.
of my work, the importance of financial literacy and financial capability for women in Australia. And then, of course, the title of that award, The Positive Progression of Women in Australia. That's a pretty cool award, yeah?
It's
You're going to say you won an award.
fantastic
That's a pretty good, you can go to bed at night and go, yeah, that's good
I've
work.
done well.
Yeah,
I make an impact.
yeah, that's good
Look,
work.
it's very good to see that, because obviously for me it's always been important financial literacy for all people, but females as well, I've always seen as important. Having three daughters, it's very, very important to me that they have that financial literacy. They can depend on themselves first and foremost, because I think that's so important. So I've always been a big advocate of that for
Yes.
all people,
Yeah.
but females helping females is a very good thing.
Yeah, it's a fabulous thing. So I think that was the most meaningful award for me on so many levels. And I, I don't know about you, but I still find myself as a woman still.
I don't find myself as a woman
No, no,
now,
no. I
so
know you don't, but I was going to
so
say, you. It's not that you want recognition. It's not that you want to outside validation, but it's you want to know that you're doing something good and that it matters and that it's seen. And so, for that reason, that was a very important award for me. And my 10-year-old son was in the audience. Now, this is really important. There was about 500 of my industry peers there. And, on one side of my life, business has been not easy for me, but I've had success with ease. And I've done a lot of great things and I've been really lucky. Yeah. And then on the personal side of my life, that's looked very different by contrast. And so that moment for my son to see me walk up on a stage and win an award like that, so important at 10 years old to say something can be happening in your life that's not.
he's still kicking goals.
Yeah,
And he's a
exactly.
beautiful young man. I know Somerset. I've known him for years. He's a beautiful boy. He's 15 now. He's a great kid.
15.
And everyone's different. So when you talk about awards, for me, people say, "Oh, it's not about awards." For me, I'm happy to say it is about awards.
I love it.
I love the recognition. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me for two reasons. It shows I'm putting in all the hard work when people aren't looking.
Yeah.
Awards never won on the night, in my opinion. It's won on the hours and hours of people aren't watching. But the second reason why I love awards and I chase them and I work hard towards them and I want more and more and more and I keep going for them, shows you're creating an impact and you're having a positive impact. Your peers are acknowledging the work you're doing. And for me, people go, "Oh, they're not that important." I said, "They're super important to me."
Yeah.
And I make no secrets about
Yeah, I
that.
love that you just say that and go, that's how it is for me. It's really
look,
important.
some people hide it, but it's super important to me.
Yeah. And I think there have been other awards, as you know, but I think this most recent nomination for me is a big deal because the award is for the financial services industry and it's Mentor of the Year. And there are 6 finalists across Australia, of which I'm one. And it's a big deal because being a mentor, you feel like you permanently have this spotlight on your head because literally it's an intangible thing that people are coming to and entrusting you with their greatest vulnerabilities, their biggest fears, and their greatest hopes. And at the same time, the expectation about what you'll do for them as a mentor is usually pretty high.
Of course.
So to even have a job that involves being a mentor, like that's what I've monetized, that's what I do. Some of the other finalists, they're mentors in big organizations, so they're mentoring big teams and what have you. But this nomination really speaks to the part of my business where I've established being a mentor and actually having individuals seek me out as a mentor to help them, show up better and do better and be different. So it's a big deal, this one too.
Well, look, they all are, and they make a significant investment, and not in terms of the value that you give, because I actually know, because you went through the course with me, because I was very intrigued and I love learning and what people do. But to invest that sort of money is a big a vow of confidence on a lot of women, and it's always good to see you're doing great things, and I'm glad you're winning so many awards. It's always good to see our fellow colleagues do really, really well. I love people that I've worked alongside with for years, and I always follow what they're doing because I'm always cheering them on in the background.
Thank you. And I love that.
You've worked with a lot of people, I know that personally, and you've helped hundreds, maybe thousands of women. What are some of your key learnings?
Well, again, I'm going to say in business, I feel like I've been incredibly lucky. And I'll say this from the point of some people start a business because they can make money. Yeah. They don't want to have a finite fixed salary. And they're like, I'm going to use business as a vehicle to make money. And the harder I work, I can multiply that 10x and make as much as I want. Never occurred to me. I just have this deep conviction in myself that the work that I do really, really matters. And And from that place, I've been incredibly lucky. Like when I think about, I think that my business model defies all of the things I should have probably done. So I'd say one of my learnings is, so, we never had a great web presence. We never had a great social media presence. We never had a great digital presence, but we always had people wanting to work with us. And we always
Why do you
had
think that is?
my results, my tangible and intangible
So the
results.
passion in the work that you
The
do?
conviction, like I'm so tenacious. Like when somebody comes with a conundrum or problem, and they're like, I don't understand why I can't overcome this or move past this. I just become determined, and I won't stop until I can figure out what's going on the inside that needs to transform so that they can have different results on the outside. So I attribute that to my tenacity and my conviction to getting results for people, both tangible results and intangible results. So to answer your question, I think what I've learnt now is that doing all of those basic things, great marketing, great digital media, great social presence, is actually important, and having sales funnels and all of the things. It's fabulous to have a great reputation. It's fabulous to get a lot of referrals, but that can change at any time. So that's been a real learning key for me just very recently about business. I think the other thing that has been probably the biggest learning for me is that be really careful and really clear about what you say, and then do that. Yeah.
So basically following up and being authentic, is that what you mean?
Don't over promise. Don't under promise. Like be really clear about what it is that you can do and what you can bring, and then just do that. Yeah. And people will always have incredible expectations of you, especially in my circumstances when you're mentoring people who are very intelligent and very skilled in their own chosen professions. A lot of the clients I work with are achievers. They come with great expectation. And
You
one of the,
mentioned a few of your clients, and we're obviously not going to say because,
yeah.
and they're very, very big clients, big hitters that are in very big CEO positions. So the fact they came to you is a big tick of approval. But also, yeah, when you told me they got some clients, and I said, "Give me a background," you never mentioned anything other than certain positions. I go, "Wow, that's amazing that you're working with such great people."
It's
Not
amazing. It's amazing to me too, because sometimes I think I don't have the big brand and the image and all of the stuff on the outside. But even recently, an influencer has got 500,000 following. She's quite well known. Came to me and I said, why? And she said, well, because of what I've heard and your results, but also I want confidentiality. I can't say the word, so I'm not going to try and say it on video.
well, I'm dyslexic, so I can't do
Say the word.
anonymity,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't know, but basically to not be known. For those of you who are dyslexic, anonymity. There you go.
There you
And I
go.
don't even know.
So, so the privacy and the confidentiality of being able to work with me one on one, because for some people who have those kind of profiles, even I have a client who's finished working with me now, is a school principal of a primary school. So, can you imagine a school principal of a primary school coming to work with a mentor that works in the space of financial literacy, financial capability, and of course the property side of things?
I can, because I look at some people that specialize in their, and I've dealt with thousands of clients, as you know, I've been doing this for almost 25 years, Reventon close to 19. It's amazing because people specialize in their own fields. Us being able to educate and help them take them from A to Z, it's such a rewarding job and career. That's why I'm so passionate, like yourself, with it. But and I always say to clients, there's no such thing as a silly question. Ask what you want. And they're almost like embarrassed how little they know about this. But we've been doing this for so long. When I looked at your course, to go back to discussing, you help them with so many even basics or getting their foundations correct before they can consider investing. So that actually helps them with their confidence as well. And those basic things that maybe you and maybe me take for granted because we've seen them for 20, 30 years and think, keep moving. For other people are more daunting because they haven't had that experience or that exposure to it. Like I'm sure if we do new things, we'll probably feel the same way, but they do as well.
Totally. And you're absolutely right. They don't even have the awareness that these, I call them the foundational aspects of wealth whether it be powers of attorney or estate planning or appropriate or all of those.
Setting up a profile, getting the right bank account set up, whatever the case may be.
Mm.
They're the basics, but they're the fundamentals, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's where it all starts.
Yeah. And they don't even know that they don't know that they need to do that.
But who
that
would?
makes sense.
Yeah, of course. They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
But who would, though? So I think it's making it welcoming to the client to ask anything and to feel comfortable to be able to share that information.
Totally.
But I actually love seeing clients buy 5, 6, 7 properties off me, and I see the confidence grow at every point. At every 6-month review, you see the confidence grow. And I'll never, ever, I don't think, ever, and I don't use that word lightly, get sick of hearing the words, if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for your business, I never would have started this journey.
Isn't that the bit where they tell us, wasn't it a good idea I decided to invest in property?
Yeah. But it's just such a rewarding feeling to see. But I always used to say when I was in homing and going out seeing clients, there's no such thing as, what do you do for a living? They'll say A, B, C. I go, if I came into your work, you wouldn't have to explain it 5 or 10 times to me. Look like about 30 or 40.
Yeah.
So ask me as many questions as you want.
Agreed.
And it was always funny because I used to always say at the end of it, now I want to make sure you understand this because it's very, very important to me. So I'm going to ask you again at the end of it. If you don't understand it, I'm going to question you. So if you don't get it, just put up your hand. I'm going to go through again. They go, okay. Because I wanted to make sure they understood what I was saying to them.
I love it.
I used to get teachers and I used to say to them, if you don't understand what I'm saying, just put your hand up and I'll answer
Just
for you. They'll
living
look
out
at me and laugh.
your secret inhibition to be a school teacher.
No, it definitely wasn't that. But I found when I was doing 3 to 6 appointments a day back in the day, when appointments were easy to get, almost every single day, I'd run into at least one school teacher or one nurse. So it was a profession to run into. So after all this time, I thought, how can I make them laugh? And I used to say, listen, if you've got any questions, just lift your hand and I'll come to you. And they'll look at me like, and I'll start laughing. But I used to run into these professions a lot in the appointments. I don't know if you find you work with a lot of teachers or nurses, but that was a very common profession for me.
Not so much teachers for me. School principal, yes. More my clients. I can't even say from any particular industry. I'm working right now with influencers. I'm working with the CEO. I'm working with entrepreneurs.
People that have sold big businesses that came to you as well.
Yeah, I'm working with, I'm doing a particular body of work at the moment with couples and money, and also people post family separation. So they've completed their separation and now they're beginning again. And for some of those
It's a
people,
massive, massive market.
yeah, and for some of those people, particularly women, if you think about it, traditionally, men traditionally earn most of the money and have most of the money, and then for a lot of women, they haven't been involved in that for 20 years of the marriage, and for the first time in their life, they have a chunk of money. And they have a big chunk of money and they have very little financial literacy and even less financial capability. So I'm doing, a lot of work around that at the moment.
It's important to seek good advice if you find yourself in the unfortunate position, but also fortunate position that your partnership, relationship, marriage is splitting and you do have money. Before you invest or spend any money, I strongly, strongly advise and recommend you go seek somebody out like a Marion, like a Reverend Don. They can give you some great advice before you invest any of that money further, because it will hold you in good stead.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to that if I could, Chris. So, that a lot has come up recently around this in the Australian financial services landscape, where there's been a review of what good advice is in terms of financial planning, which is not the work that I do. I'm a certified money coach. I did my certification in the US last year. Just a point of distinction. People can go to financial planners, sure, and get financial advice straight up. The work that I'm doing with clients is to first give them financial literacy and then help them with financial capability, which means the practice of what you learned. Yeah.
So putting what you put into
Capability.
action.
I can actually do it. Like, you could give me directions on how to cook. Probably not, but let's say.
Definitely not. Just to confirm, definitely not. I cannot do that.
I had to get that one in there. I'm a better cook than you. You could
Everyone is though.
You could give me directions on how to cook, but my cooking capability would come with the doingness or the experiential practice of doing cooking. So same thing. And what I advocate is for anybody, if you have financial literacy and you have financial capability, then you can go to a financial planner and get advice and participate in the process and actually understand what they're speaking about and make informed decisions and have a say, because you actually understand what an ETF is, or you actually understand what a bond or a commodity is, or you actually understand the language that's being used.
Of course, of course. And that does make a difference. Can I ask for our listeners, can you give us some actionable items, some quick tips and tricks for the people out there that would like to take control of their financial future or learn a little bit more about their finances? Maybe like a common theme that you see with all the women that you're working, or all the couples or males that you're working with for that matter.
The theme that I mostly see is that people unconsciously earn money and then spend money and then go about their life. Yeah. It's just a given. I'm going to get money next week. I'm going to keep having money. And they don't really stop to take care of that money. And when I think about money, I always think about money in the three contexts. The first, the ability to make money. The second, the ability to manage money. And the third, the ability to multiply money or make money from money. So
I always thought it was two, but the second one was to make and to invest and
the
make it
first
grow.
one
What would
is
you put the
to
second
earn
one?
money.
To earn, yeah,
Yep, to
obviously, yeah.
earn. Some women are under earners. Some women
To
are over.
manage the money.
To manage, to take care of.
Understand. To leave money to be able to invest.
To manage their money, to take care of it. And then I say in terms of managing money, one of the things I teach clients is every dollar we earn should do 3 jobs. Not 1, but 3. Yeah? You're laughing.
No, I laugh
Buying
because
high heels is not one of them, if that's where you're thinking I'm going.
No, definitely not.
No.
Because I laugh because I use it. When you finish, I'll explain what I.
Yeah, so 3 jobs. 1, it should fund your necessities now and make sure your bills are paid on time and your credit rating's protected. The second, it should enable you to live well now. Life is for living. We could all be dead next week. That's not a pep talk. And the third job it should do is it should take care of the 60-year-old Marion or the 60-year-old Chris, our future selves.
Yes.
And
So invest.
And yes, so but every dollar should do 3 jobs. And I think if we, I've been in financial services for 30 years, if we go right back, what we were always taught is, you need to earn money and you need to save. And you shouldn't be wasteful. And you shouldn't buy a latte every day. And you shouldn't eat Avo on toast and all of those things.
Yeah, of course. Because for me, I say every $3 earned is you can only save $1 because you've got to live.
Have fun.
You've got, of course, pay taxes and then invest it. But I think it's a good understanding the principles of saving only to invest, because that's when your money multiplies. But anyone that knows me knows I love making money. I'm very good at that, but I love investing as well. But I spend money. I'm here once. I'm going to enjoy myself. Because someone told me when I was very, very young, Chris, would you like to spend more than you earn? And I thought, what's he talking about? Go on, what do you... Because there's one golden rule, Chris. You need to learn to invest first. And that really intrigued me because I thought, what's he talking about? What do you mean spend more than you earn? But what he was trying to insinuate to me or try to teach me is if you earn 100 and you invest it, that will compound and then you can expand your lifestyle. Because what people do is when they earn $50,000 more, the first thing they do, I found, is they expand their lifestyle $50,000 more. They don't pay themselves.
Lifestyle creep is very real.
They don't invest first and pay themselves first, I should say, to be able to invest. So if you use 5%, 10%, 20% of your wage, when you earn more, you pay your tax, but you're still taking a portion of that investing, which will have a compound effect.
Totally.
Now, we can talk about this for hours, but obviously we can't because we're a bit time restricted, actually. We can talk about this for a long time, but we're time restricted. Tell me a bit about your course that I know you're launching very soon.
Yeah, so it's about property, and I think we all know, given the current economic situation, inflation is high, interest rates are higher than they've been in recent years, and it's harder for people to enter the property market. It's a huge passion for me. I've always advocated that every woman should have one little black dress in her wardrobe and own one piece of real estate in her own name. And so this property program is being launched in collaboration with Ladies Finance Club, which is the fabulous Molly Benjamin. And it's a property course that people will purchase and join. It's facilitated in a hybrid fashion. So there's online learnings, but there's also live sessions. And the intention of the program and the course is to help people enter the property market and to take away all of those difficult things, getting the deposit together, getting finance ready, making sure your credit worthiness is up to scratch, making sure you buy the right property in the right location. Helping people move from a renter to a property owner. And as we know, because we've spent so much time in that space over the years, it's more difficult than it ever has been when we look at not only the property market, but the financial situation as well.
Of course. And I love working with people that are so passionate in our field, because I always think it's competition without opposition. We're not opposed because we're trying to help people get into the property market. So for me, giving that knowledge,
How do you think I could be your competitor? I'll ring you up and say, I don't know how to do this. How do we do that? What?
I'm talking in general terms, but no, I'm glad. I'm more like that with a lot of people I worked with, because we just want to see people get that knowledge and act on
Absolutely.
it. For me, that's what it's all about. Now, I've absolutely enjoyed our podcast and our chat, as I always do, Marion. Are you ready for your quick fire questions?
Probably not, but go on.
Okay. What's the first thing you think of when you wake up?
I do a gratitude practice and I give thanks for my son, myself, my home, my dog, my family, and all the things I'm grateful for.
And the ex-people she used to work with as well.
Yeah, that too.
Can you share one of your favorite quotes or mantras that inspire you?
Yeah, I quote this one a lot, that we can only ever be overpowered in life in any area where we're first disempowered.
I love that. Favorite food?
Oh, you're not going to make me say this. It's ridiculous. Porridge.
Porridge. Yeah, there you go. I'll know for next time. Favorite color?
Emerald green.
What's the most valuable lesson you've learned from a failure or setback that you've had?
Well, I've had many. I've had a lot. I've failed a lot. I've had a lot of setbacks. I think I don't know how to articulate it, but I think motion or movement, when you're in difficult times, yeah, it's easy to be stuck in freeze or fawn mode. I think to keep moving and to keep being in motion and to keep trying and to keep getting up, even if it feels like you're getting slapped in the face again and again and again and again. And I think you know what I'm referring to when I share this, that, I've enjoyed some stuff that lasted beyond a decade, and I had to really stand in the fire and really keep getting up in the face of great adversity when all the odds were against me, and motion and movement to keep going forward.
Never quit, be resilient.
Yeah, the male way of saying it. There you go. Quick.
How do you stay motivated and overcome your challenges to pursue your goals?
I never let it be about me. So I have such a deep conviction for financial literacy, financial capability of women. I have such a conviction for property ownership and housing security for all women. And probably I would say, actually, to be truthful, I think that my son, Somerset, is one of the hugest motivators for me, because I'm always reminded that he's always watching and he's always looking and he's always learning and he's always modeling himself and what's possible for him based off what he sees me do or not do.
Well, I've seen him and I know you're an absolutely great role model, and I knew you were going to say Somerset there.
Lucky
Now-
I did, huh?
I knew you would. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much have you enjoyed being on my podcast?
11.
There we go.
11. I've loved it.
11
Thank
out
you.
of 10. Thank you very much, Marion.
Thank you for having me.